Most of us are familiar with the infamous red coats of the British Army, but there was more to the uniform than that. Every regiment's equipment was up to the colonel, leading to tremendous variation. Within a regiment, there would be further distinction between battalion companies, light infantry, and grenadiers. This video will focus on the uniforms of the light company of the 4th or King's Own Regiment of Foot. When they arrived in Boston in 1775, the 4th's uniform was close to the royal warrant for light infantry. Like all British soldiers, they wore a white linen shirt and white wool breeches with a straight-waisted red wool waistcoat. Over this went the regimental coat, cut down slightly in the back to allow easier movement. While every infantry regiment wore a madder red coat, the facings, collar, cuffs, and lapels, were distinct for every regiment. Blue, like the 4th wears, was reserved for royal regiments. The King's Own got their title in 1715, which enabled them to wear the blue facings. They wore shoulder wings to denote their status as a flank company. Only light infantry and grenadiers wore the wings on their coats. Light infantry wore leather helmets on their heads, which were less likely to be knocked off by branches and provided some protection from cavalry sabers. The 4th's helmets are unique with their swept shields and red feathers. Most regiments' light companies wore rounded shields with black feathers. The accoutrements of the light infantry varied slightly from regiment to regiment. There was a cartridge pouch worn by a shoulder strap. Suspended from that strap was a powder horn and shot pouch, but evidence suggests that the King's Own did not carry them in 1775. On the other side is a bayonet, worn on a strap with a buckle bearing the regimental number. By the warrant, those straps should be black leather, but we know that the King's Own was told off for white straps in an inspection before leaving for Boston. British soldiers also wore a linen haversack, where they carried their food rations, and a tin flask for water. When on the march, they wore a knapsack with all of their worldly possessions. The knapsack was linen, painted on the outside for waterproofing, with 2 large pouches on the inside. In these pouches went an extra shirt and a pair of socks, replacement heels and soles for the shoes, a cap for off-duty wear, black ball for blackening and pipe clay for whitening, along with a brush for maintaining their wool. To polish their metal, they carried a buffing stick made from leather glued to a wooden rod, which was wet with oil and dipped in brick dust to provide abrasion. A soldier would likely carry a razor, comb, and soap. Accounts tell of British soldiers bathing at every opportunity, even shocking the Boston townspeople by bathing nude in the harbor. Soldiers carried a housewife or sewing kit for repairs. The mess kit was a simple cup and spoon, and cooking was done in a tin kettle, 1 per 8 soldiers, and carried by the junior member of the mess. For entertainment, a soldier might carry a deck of cards, or tobacco and a pipe. A blanket sat in the middle of the knapsack between the pockets. That kit was worn between 1775 and 1776, but in 77, the British Army realized it was inefficient for service in North America and made some changes. Each army had separate modifications, and the King's Own changed theirs to match the army in New York. The older kit was heavy, not well suited to the mid-Atlantic climate. To fit the weather, everything was lightened. The coat and waistcoat were replaced by a wool jacket made from the waistcoat with the regimental sleeves attached. While the wool breeches were replaced with linen trousers, the helmet was replaced with a round felt hat cocked up on the left side. The round hat was lighter, more comfortable, and offered some protection from the sun. Finally, the knapsack was abandoned in favor of a rolled-up blanket worn over the shoulder by a simple strap. The essentials were rolled up in the blanket. Uniform changes continued until the end of the war, with reinforcements often being told to modify their kit either on the boat or before they ever left England. The goal was always the same: increase the efficiency of the British Army and cut anything that hindered their ability to fight. Thank you for watching this video. To see more of the King's Own, come to the American Independence Museum in Exeter, New Hampshire on July 17th.